Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's episode review. This time we will be talking about episode 61, the duel between Roa Kirishima and Goha Yuka. And what did I think of this episode, generally speaking? I liked it quite a bit. I believe Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's has continued its hot streak of recent episodes here. Obviously, I was very high on last week's episode, episode 60, and I liked 58 a lot, kind of skipping over 59, because 59 was a recap. So I think we have had 3 really solid episodes after what I thought was an okay start to this arc. I didn't think the arc started incredibly well, but after Yuo's introduction in 58, after the introduction of fusion summoning, and actually I thought the introduction of Yuka and Yuden was really well done as well. I didn't really... I was okay. Yugioh and Eugene were okay to me, but I started feeling a real threat when Goha actually started winning duels. I think that's really what it was. And so the fact that going into this episode, Yuga's team was actually losing, and you had 2 duelists who, are very hot-blooded, very entertaining to watch in Yuka and Roa. It was a really good matchup, a matchup that I really did not see coming, and I thought it was executed very well. Someone who low-key had another really great episode was Yugioh, who seems to be the main villain of this arc. Definitely the main threat from the 6 siblings. And I loved the coldness and callousness of Yugioh in this episode. One of my favorite moments had to be when Yuka hurt her shoulder, which I'm a very big New York Mets fan. Unfortunately, I always say unfortunately after that. I was actually at the game last night when they got killed by the Dodgers. And and that's a very common injury for a pitcher, a shoulder injury. It's probably one of the most common injuries that a pitcher can have. So for her to have that shoulder injury when she was drawing, if you're not really familiar with baseball, you probably were kind of confused by that, but it's a baseball reference. It's a very common injury for a pitcher to have, and Yuka always pretends to play the part of a pitcher, so it made sense from that perspective, which, I really appreciated being a big baseball fan. And you can actually see Yuden looking at Yugioh the second she hurts herself, and Yugioh just smirks. Doesn't really care about the injury to his sister. And I loved that subtlety of Yuden looking at Yugioh to see Yuo's reaction, because we know that Yuden is such an observant character. He's always observing. He's constantly observing. And so he wanted to see how his younger brother was going to react to Yuka being injured and hurting herself. And Yugioh showed zero care for her at all, which is not surprising. I mean, there is clear tension between Yugioh, Yuka, and Yugioh and Yuden, and that was something that I really, really enjoyed. Very subtle and really cool. Once again, continuing to build the depth here between the Goha siblings. I also love the moment when Yuka yelled out to the ship and said, "We're a team, we're a family, we have to stick together, there's 6 of us," referencing the conversation she had with Yugioh earlier in the episode when Yugioh told her and admitted that his goal is to be the only president left, and because he has the fusion card, nobody is going to stop him. And will that be the case? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Yuka ends up losing this duel, and so the last 2 presidents that we know of are Yugioh and Yuden. We don't know who that 6th sibling is, and so that's why I say that we know of, because that 6th sibling, when or if it gets revealed anytime soon, very well could be dueling for Goha and could end up being the last president standing. So even if Yuden loses in the next episode or in 2 episodes or whenever, and Yugioh is the last of the 5 standing, he's not alone, because we know there's a 6th sibling. So there still is that unknown wildcard factor here when it comes to the power structure of the Goha siblings, which I like quite a bit. But Roa gets a huge win against Yuka. He needed this win. I'll never forget in episode 13, Rook said that Roa is maybe the strongest duelist that he has ever seen. Well, Roa, in my opinion, out of the main 7, has been one of the worst treated and mishandled duelists that we've seen in the show. To me, he needed a win. He needed some legitimacy. Unlike Nail and Asana, who both beat Yuga, and Nail, who continued to expand the game of rush duels by creating Maximum, Roa really hadn't done much. You know, he's known for these vanishing acts. He's known for beating weak opponents, beating Mimi and Geta, and then losing to Yuga and Roman, two of the more difficult opponents that he versed. And this was a big test for him, and he passed it with flying colors. When Miniscape hit, I knew Roa had it. He has some of the most hype turns in this entire show. And what I loved about this episode too is we actually got some solid development for Roa. The only reason that Roa is dueling Yuka is to avenge his cousin, is to avenge the name of Roa Roman. And so seeing how much he cares about the band after everything that the band has gone through. I mean, we know this band has gone through so many splits and so many identity changes. It was really nice to see. And of course, seeing the symbolism at the end where he summons a bass for Yugioh, a guitar for Roman, and a drum kit for Geta, and having those monsters overcome Yuka was really symbolic. It reminded me so much of the final arc of Season 1, where he told Geta and Yugioh that they were his two aces, right? And then he ends up sacrificing those aces, and we never really see a duel in that season or that arc, I should say, where he uses monsters that remind him of Geta and Yugioh to beat an opponent. Because when he beats Mimi or President Goha, he doesn't use those cards to get the win. And when he uses those cards in the duel against Roman, he doesn't beat Roman. So this was the first time where it seemed he finally was able to symbolically get a win while truly representing his bandmates, Geta, Yugioh, and Roman. And I think that deeply signifies the bond and friendship that he has with his bandmates. So I loved that. Yuka's final turn was also fantastic. I think Yuka has the best theme music of any of the characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. Maybe Yugioh can give her a run for her money, but her theme music sounds like a board or a boss fight out of Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Kong 64. I mean, her theme is so good, and it made that final turn of hers so amazing. And then, of course, we see a new boss monster of hers, which is a version of number 99 Utopic Dragon. It is a massive baseball dragon with a scoreboard that literally says 99, further symbolizing number 99 Utopic Dragon. So to see her summon a version of Utopic Dragon when we already know she has a version of Hope Utopia in this deck, and Gaga Magician and Dodo and all these Yuma monsters, it was incredible. I was certainly not expecting that. I thought we were going to get a Gaga Girl variant, but this was just as cool, if not cooler. So that was an amazing boss monster to see. Ro is able to survive the onslaught on that final turn, and then, of course, eventually beat her. And I really do love how she responded to losing. I really do love that she was a sore loser because it fits her personality well. She is very fiery and hot-headed and really wears her emotions on her sleeve. So I'm very happy she did not fall for Roa. I'm very happy she did not want to become friends immediately with Roman and Roa and Yuga and his crew. I'm very happy with how they handled it because I felt that fit her character very well, where she throws a temper tantrum, which is something that, people her age do. Even people my age sometimes throw temper tantrums when they lose. That's not an age thing, let's be honest. And she rolls off, and I say rolls off because she's in a vehicle, and delivers one of the most important under-the-radar lines of the entire show. And it's such a comedic moment when this is happening that it kind of disarms you and then immediately brings you back in. And Sevens does that a lot. In some of their hyper-comedic moments, some of the biggest foreshadowing lines are delivered. And that was a moment I loved in this episode. Yuka, as she's throwing her temper tantrum, goes, "As long as Yugioh doesn't find that thing, he will never become president." What on earth are you talking about? Yuka, what are you even saying there? So there is something that Yuka knows that she's very confident Yugioh does not know about. So more secrets within the siblings. And it's so important that if Yugioh doesn't find it, he will never become the true president. What does Yuka know that Yugioh doesn't and that we as fans don't? maybe that's a throwaway line, but to me, that is a line with massive implications, and it makes Yuka such a more interesting character. Now, I already liked Yuka a lot, but, you know, when you're defeated as a president, Yugioh has been around, Eugene's disappeared, Yuka could have very well disappeared as well and not really been too important to the main plot, but knowing that information, saying that line, immediately will tie her to the main plot going forward, which I absolutely loved. Great delivery there. The other gag of the episode is they're watching the Gohan meteor shower, and Rook the entire episode is trying to find a new thing to wish for, basically a new purpose, because he's achieved his entire purpose at this point of his life. He's become the king of duels, and so he has no idea what to wish for, and it's a very weird ending. He goes back to his home. We hear a voice say Luke twice, and it's clearly a shooting star that's falling from the sky, as his manga is gone, right? The Luke Man manga is gone. I'm sure his sister probably took it or some entity took it. And he runs to the site of this meteor. Is it the fusion card? It could, I mean, I think it could be a fusion card. We know from the preview that he's wearing his Luke Man mask and he's become the Luke Man. Will that be a comedic gag, or will he be actually a more serious character who just looks like a more comedic character? I have no idea what's going on at the end. I think it could be fusion, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Clearly, there is, once again, something almost supernatural going on with Rook's character that we're just going to have to wait another week to find out more details about. But all in all, I thought it was a really strong, solid episode. I'm very excited for next week. But Yuka and Roa squaring off was everything that I hoped it could be. And, you know, Roa did what he needed to do in getting the win. He needs to stick around. He needs to stick around. If he does what he did after the Geta duel, we're not going to see Roa until the mid-80s. That would be unacceptable and disastrous for his character. He doesn't need to keep dueling, but he needs to at least stick around and be relevant and help these characters around him develop and push the plot forward. I think Roman's done a lot for his character. I'd like to see him maybe return the favor and continue to help Roman's character grow here a little bit. But all in all, it was a really good episode for Roa and for Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, and I couldn't be more interested and excited with where this show currently is. But guys, let me know all your thoughts on episode 61 down below. Thank you so much for watching my review. And a special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Panther J, Blue Maiden 28, and Jarrett Buller, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood and Latrell Smith. Thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon and who is a YouTube channel member. There are some really cool perks associated with being a patron of mine or being a YouTube channel member. I definitely encourage you to check them out. And to everyone that has supported me through those means, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I stream on Twitch, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram. Links for all those will be down below. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you in the comments, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.